Even in a world gone mad for SUVs, it's hard to understate the importance of the Toyota Camry. Still the nation's top-selling passenger car, as opposed to a truck or SUV. It's pretty much guaranteed that you either own a Camry, know someone who owns one, or park next to one at work every day. In fact, including export models, Toyota's plant in Georgetown, Kentucky, cranks out a new Camry every 60 seconds. There's a lot of pressure, then, riding on the 2018 model. The Camry truly is all news, riding on the Toyota New Global Architecture (TNGA) modular platform also used in the Prius and Sea-Hour. The four-cylinder engine is new, the V6 is heavily revised. There's a new 8-speed automatic, and the rear suspension is now a fully independent double wishbone suspension, to say nothing of the updated styling and equipment list. The move to the new platform extends the Camry's wheelbase by 1.9 inches and its length by 1.2 to 1.8 inches, depending on trim level. The car's overall height is down by 1 inch, to drop the center of gravity, and occupants sit lower, too. The hip point is down 1 inch in front and 1.2 inches for rear seat passengers. The goal is to make the car look lower, wider, and thus more athletic. Athleticism informed much of the design for the new Toyota Camry. Called Keen Look, it's far more expressive than the outgoing car, with sharper lines and creases, a shallower rear window angle, and far more distinction between trim levels. The Say and XSE, for instance, are deliberately sportier to behold. The XSE has 19-inch wheels, Camry first quad exhaust tips, and can be optioned with a blacked-out roof panel and a red interior. The hood is 1.6 inches lower than before, and all 5 wheel choices, from 16 to 19 inches in diameter, have been restyled. Regardless of trim, the 2018 Toyota Camry is a far more modern take on what it means to make a mid-size sedan. The standard trim levels L, L, XLE are still fairly conservative, with the nose dominated by a giant, wide-mouth lower grille. The Say and XSE adopt fake air intakes for a racier fascia design. Creases along the body sides are sharper than before, and there's a little more definition to the sedan from behind, including a redesigned Camry badge with a new font. The volume engine is a new 2.5-liter inline-4 that uses both port and direct fuel injection to produce 201 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque, or 206 horsepower and 186 pounds-ft in the XSE. That's an increase of 25 horsepower and 14 pounds-ft compared to the 2017 Camry's 2.5-liter engine. It's strong and smooth in action. As revs rise, the engine plays a coarse tune, but it mostly goes about its job without drawing too much attention. With this much power, the Camry is plenty quick for a midsize sedan, though fortunately, there's no torque steer to speak of. An 8-speed automatic transmission replaces the 6-speed unit. With pleasantly subtle gear changes, it soon settles on higher gears for steady-state cruising, keeping noise and fuel economy low. It's happy to downshift, though, as soon as you demand some passing power. Peak torque doesn't arrive until 5,000 revolutions per minute, so the Camry's inline-4 needs to rev more than some rival turbo engines to really wake up. Switching into a V6-powered Camry is even more fun from behind the wheel. Newly upgraded, the 3.5-liter mill now produces 301 horsepower and 267 pounds-feet. Gains of 33 horsepower and 19 pounds-feet. There's more than enough power to light up the tires away from stop signs, with just a little torque steer tugging at the steering wheel. Overall, the V6's character is muted and more refined than the four-cylinder. It needs to rev less to generate big passing power, and has a gentler, more hushed exhaust note while doing so. Of course, with so much power, not to mention fuel efficiency, on offer from the Camrys four-cylinder, it's hard to recommend anyone buy the big engine. Only 6% of Camrys are currently sold with V6 engines. That's roughly on par with rivals that still offer six-cylinder engines. The Honda Accord has a 14% V6 take rate, while Nissan says less than 10% of Altima sedans come with a V6. Engines aside, the 2018 Camry feels very mature from behind the wheel. There's gravitas and weight to all the controls, including the steering, though it still lacks any discernible feedback. And the ride and handling mix is far more deliberate and less floaty than before. The new rear suspension arrangement no doubt helps with composure over bumpy roads. While it's far from the most exciting or most satisfying among its mid-size sedan peers, there's nothing off-putting or disappointing about driving the Camry. The Camry is also quiet in all circumstances, with only moderate amounts of wind and engine noise disturbing the cabin. To keep noise and vibration to a minimum, the car is 30% stiffer than its predecessor, and engineers specifically made sure that any openings in the firewall or door panels were smaller, while also adding more sound deadening. Getting behind the wheel of the sporty-looking XSE V6 returns only a little bit more fun for the driver. There's a tiny bit more handling directness from the lower-profile tires on 19-inch wheels, 235/40ths compared to the 235/45/18ths or 215/55/17ths options on other trims. And a smidge more steering feedback, too. But despite the quad-tip exhaust and that excessively racy body kit, the XSE still drives essentially like any other Camry. That's because the company did not retune the sedan suspension for XSE duty. Aside from minor bushing, damper changes to compensate for the wheel and tire choice, Camry chief engineer Masato Katsumata says Toyota originally considered developing a separate setup for the SE and XSE models, but decided against it because Camry buyers value ride comfort above fun. The 2018 Camry's new interior looks and feels nice from all angles, though the driver's seat begins to feel stiff and unforgiving after a few hours of driving. A freshly designed instrument cluster has either a back-to-basics 4.2-inch or a very pretty 7-inch color trip computer. The steering wheel buttons have been reshaped, and the center stack is refreshingly straightforward in its control arrangement. An unusual Y-shaped character line to the dash though, plus the fact that the stack is canted toward the driver, make it difficult for anyone riding shotgun to access the forward storage cubby or the physical radio controls. An interesting trim piece on the passenger side dash can be finished in a variety of metallic look designs, depending on the model. The overall dashboard design is smart and modern, though the meeting of dash and door panels has